All right, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it with PowerPoint here as I pull up this thing right now. Okay, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do a little bit of that, and there we go. Okay, so the real truth behind Swelce and how it will break an NFL franchise by Mitchell A. Spinell. This is I worked on this for about 38 hours over the course of the end of the first slate of NFL games on Sunday to actually just now, and I wasn't able to finish it, so you'll be able to see why in a second. Let's start off here. Two subjects we have to talk about in mind. Travis Kelce, NFL tight end, occasional podcaster, and former reality show dating contestant. He is a two-time Super Bowl champion, an eight-time Pro Bowl appearer, and he's a Westlake, Ohio native, arguably the best Cleveland area athlete since LeBron James. I know LeBron was from Akron, but we're not going to bring that up. So we have that. He's probably one of the most famous faces in the NFL going into this season. Taylor Swift, pop star, occasional actress, and serial dater, a 200 million record seller, a 12-time Grammy Award winner who's currently performing on the Eras Tour, which is, as we knew from a couple months ago, was impossible to get tickets for. Now we have to talk about Taylor Swift and some of the things that, has been going on in her life, even from the start of this year. We have to talk about what happened on Sunday between the Bears and the Chiefs here. Now, prior to the Eras Tour, Taylor had exited a previous era of her life in the Joe Alwyn era. That was her former boyfriend from 2016 to 2023. It's her longest publicly acknowledged relationship to date. In May, Swift was spotted with Matty Healy, the lead singer of the band in 1975. The two's relationship ended after just a few weeks. So Taylor is single for the first time officially in a while. And, she's dated a number of guys before, as we see on the list right there. And then it all heads to July 8th, 2023, when Swift performed at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri. We have a picture of it right there. Okay, so trying to collect myself for this one. I got my notes here. I'm mixed up. I apologize. So it was prior to this concert that Travis, while attending mandatory Chiefs workouts, allegedly looked at a commercial for Swift's tour while repeatedly saying the phrase, "You belong with me." So Kelce reportedly proceeded to make a friendship bracelet bearing the digits to his cellular telephone, which he confirmed on episode 50 of the New Heights podcast, saying he was, quote unquote, a little butthurt that he and Swift could not link up afterwards. So later that night of the show, Kelce tried but failed to get the friendship bracelet to Swift, leaving Kelce to return home, where he briefly sulked before telling himself to shake it off. However, what seemed like a cruel summer for Travis would suddenly be redeemed when, in a September 12th report from The Messenger, Kelce and Swift had reportedly been quietly hanging out, with Swift seeing Kelce while she was in New York City a few weeks prior. Now, these reports were disputed by some, and on last Thursday, it was being reported that the two had actually not been getting closer and that Swift was in her fun girl era and strictly having fun right now. This claim was later further suggested, albeit regretfully, by the Big Time Sports podcast show. Anyway, so in the 41-10 victory the Chiefs had over the Chicago Bears at Arrowhead on Sunday, it was not only revealed that Justin Fields may not actually be the guy for Chicago, but in fact, Swift, on break from her tour, made a surprise appearance at the game, sitting in a suite with Kelce's mother as he caught 7 passes, including a touchdown for 69 receiving yards, prompting Swift to scream what most of her fans say when the opening lights at her shows go down. You saw a video of her going at the game going, "Let's effing go!" You can see it on the screen. So, as if that wasn't enough, a post-game video of both Kelce and Swift, known as Swelce by me, walking out of Arrowhead side by side. There you have it. One of the most recognizable faces is romantically involved with one of the most recognizable faces in professional football. Truly a love story for the ages. Or is it? Because, Mitch, I have discovered a wealth of information here in the last couple of days. I have scoured the numbers. I have looked through the small details, and I have discovered a plan between multiple backdoors deals that might be leading to one of the greatest con acts in professional sports history. So without going through the slides here, I want to explain to you a couple of things as I get my slides up back here, because that is what I needed to share in order for this joke to work. I need to ask you a couple of questions, okay? Number one, who is Travis Kelce's brother? What is his name?
Jason Kelce.
Okay. Who does Jason Kelce play for?
Eagles.
Okay. Who played in the Super Bowl last season? Which two teams played in the Super Bowl?
Chiefs and Eagles.
Okay. So which player for the Kansas City Chiefs wears the number 0?
You mean the Eagles?
Wide running back for the Eagles. Yes.
Swift.
Swift. Okay. Who has gone on record saying that she is a Philadelphia Eagles sports fan? I'm going to spoil it for you. Taylor freaking Swift. It all is coming together. I take this off the screen here now because I need my notes. It is all coming together. This is part of the entire plan. This is a sabotage job from the inside from Taylor to avenge last year's heartbreaking Eagles loss in the championship game to the Chiefs. I can visualize her watching that holding penalty on James Bradbury at the end of the game and turning red with anger. Anyway, here's what's going to play out here in the next couple of months. The two are going to link. The two linked up over the summer. She's probably shacking down in Kansas City this fall as she prepares for the next half of her tour, which I believe starts again next month. By this point, when she leaves in November, Travis becomes lonely. Travis becomes codependent. Travis starts losing his game like the NBA All-Stars in Space Jam when the Monstars suck out the talent from the players. This is disastrous for an already depleted Chiefs receiving core. However, knowing how Kansas City operates, here's how it's going to play out. 4 things will happen. Number 1, Patrick Mahomes will still make plays and score enough to win games. Number 2, Andy Reid will make play calls while snacking on a ham sandwich. Number 3, Jackson Mahomes will continue to make TikToks and have people grow to hate him even more. And number 4, the Chiefs make it into the AFC playoffs and win out to reach the Super Bowl for the 4th time in 5 seasons. But here's what else will happen. In a considerably weaker NFC this year, the Philadelphia Eagles are probably by far the top team in the conference. They'll take advantage of the other teams cannibalizing themselves and reach the Super Bowl again for a rematch with KC. By this point in late January to early February, Taylor will already be active into the Eras Tour, with her first stop of the new year being in Tokyo from February 7th to the 10th prior to the big game. Here's what I predict will happen. Taylor and Travis's long-distance relationship starts to show cracks during the playoffs, the postseason, and the tour prep. Both high-pressure situations, a lot of details going into this. And with them not being able to console the other, it can get tricky. It can get emotionally difficult. Then, in a catastrophic move for the relationship, Taylor surprises her fans with more dates and more locations just after her Tokyo run in February, distancing herself from Travis for good. Travis is heartbroken. He's despondent. He channels all that bad blood between him and her into this game, playing the best he ever has in practice leading up to the contest. The day of the Super Bowl comes. First half is played. Travis is playing fantastically. Pretty even matchup between the two squads. But then it's time for the halftime show. And I don't know if you saw this yesterday, but it was announced that Usher would be the performer for this year's halftime show. Makes a lot of sense. He's had a number of big hits over the years. He's a part-time owner of the Cleveland Cavaliers. I sat 3 seats away from him at an NBA Finals game back in 2017. Now, as much of a tradition it is for musical artists to perform the game, what has been a common occurrence for these sort of Super Bowl halftime shows over the last decade or so? What typically happens when you get a big performer in here and at some point they've ran through about 5 or 6 songs? What do they usually do? What usually comes to be at the halftime show?
Guest appearances.
Guest appearances. Thank you. And once Usher breaks out the hits like Scream and DJ Got Us Falling in Love, here's what I predict will happen. We see a smoky figure settling into the background of the stage. The camera pans closer and a shadowy figure emerges from the deep portion of the stage. And right there, wearing a sparkly, bedazzled Swift Zero jersey, is Taylor Allison Swift. The crowd goes crazy. Twitter is set on fire. The Swifties at the game, who were not expecting her to come out, actually start convulsing uncontrollably and have to be carted out on the bed things. This gets all the way to the locker room. Travis is stunned. He can't believe it. The man's mind is racing at 1,000,000 miles an hour and nobody can stop him. The second half begins. Mahomes keeps trying for Kelce, who can't get open or get his hands on a ball. The Eagles maintain their confidence, pull away in the second half, and come away with their second Lombardi trophy in 7 years. And after the game, with the entire team celebrating, Super Bowl MVP Jason Kelce is asked by Jim Nantz what message this championship sends. And all Jason does is lift the trophy, look into the camera, and say, directed to Travis, "Look what you made me do." New Heights podcast every Wednesday. And that was a giant waste of time that I just committed to. Anyway, so that's the end of the Big Time Sports Podcast show. Thank you guys so much for listening or watching. I'm being rude, Mitch. Anything to say on what I just went on for about 10 minutes?
That was exceptional. You spent a lot of time research on that. I can tell.
I can't give all the credit. I did see there was a one TikTok, and I don't have it up, and I apologize. I'll probably post it later. But yeah, there was a girl who was like, she kind of had a similar conspiracy as to what's going to happen, but it was more outlandish than mine was. I was just kind of building on that, and I figured it would be funny. It probably wasn't, but we're going to sign off here.